A lot of photographers have been looking forward to this model, the Fujifilm XT-5. I've been a long-term owner of the Fujifilm XT3 and it still serves me fine, with a few hiccups because of its age. I was curious how this newer and fancier model performs, and I had the pleasure to try out the XT5 for a week, so I went to the UK for a photography trip. In this video I'll share my findings about the XT5, whether it's worth it to upgrade from an older model and how it performs with all its new bells and whistles. I've been reading a lot about this camera and some say it's the top Fuji camera for pure photographers, with the highest resolution of all APS-C cameras out there. It has the same 40 megapixel sensor and processor as Fuji's flagship model, the X-H2S, but with a more compact body. It has won some awards as well apparently, so congratulations. What I really care about in a camera is the ease of use. Luckily I'm already familiar with Fujifilm's menu system and everything is still the same. It feels like my X-T3 on steroids. The autofocus has improved massively and it took some time for me to figure out which setting works best for street photography, for example. Because in street photography there's a lot going on and you have to act fast or you will miss the moment before you take your shot. I was shooting with the 33mm, which has an aperture of 1.4, and I have to say it performed really well. The eye detection could recognize people from really far away and even shows you these bigger squares which subjects it could recognize. If you're interested in other things like airplane photography, animals, birds, trains, they thought of that and gave a subject setting for that. The buttons look almost identical to the XT3 with a few exceptions. Like for example this still movie switch right here, which is so nice to use. I skipped the XT4 so I never used that one, but it was super fun to switch in between photos and video to take some quick B-roll shots of the city, for example. Also they included this Bluetooth button right here on the display back, and this makes it possible to make the Bluetooth and function settings menu appear super quick. So if you press this long enough, the Bluetooth settings will appear and you will be able to easily transfer your pictures to your phone. The Q button and the autofocus lock has been switched as well, but for the rest everything is still the same. When it comes to ergonomics, the camera feels really good in my hands. The side handle right here is a bit bulkier and protrudes a bit further, so for my big hands this is really nice to use. I didn't really use a lanyard or some kind of safety, so that was a bit of a risk, but I felt kind of safe holding this one without a strap around my wrist. Also the tilt screen has been brought back. This is bad news for everyone who wanted to use this camera as a vlog camera. If you want this you have to go back to the XT4, but for our photography friends this is really good news. The flip screen feels more lighter and flimsy and I can see that this can be a bit of an issue in the long run. But I only had this for a week, so I can't really give my honest opinion about that. But I read some other reviews as well saying that they don't really like it. I'm a hybrid shooter, this means that video is equally as important to me. I love to film things on the street, in the water, or just for clients to earn my living. And I know there are better options out there, like for example the X-H2S looks excellent for video shooters. But to be honest, I think the XT5 is more than enough if you want professional results and don't want to spend the extra money on a secondary video camera. I'm filming this piece of text on the XT5 for example, and I'm wondering if you noticed the difference. Usually I shoot on this one, which is the Zcam E2S6, and it's marketed as a cinema camera. This camera can shoot in 6K, which also is possible with the Fujifilm XT5, but it's downscaled to 4K. Actually, if I have to be honest, I never shoot in 6K. I always shoot in 4K and then deliver the project file in 1080p. So if the lack of 8K is holding you back, then think about if you really need it. For the rest, I have some specifications. It shoots in the new f-log 2. It can shoot 4K 60 frames per second and also in 10-bit 422, which is excellent. Next to that it has in-body stabilization, which is a first for me. When pairing this with the 18-55mm lens, which is stabilized as well, it can deliver some very smooth footage when shooting handheld video. Let's take a look at some shots that I filmed with the XT5 in combination with the 33mm 1.4 on my trip to the UK. street photography, this camera is an absolute beast. I had so much fun taking pictures with this thing. I set the ISO to auto, kept my aperture to 1.4 and just played around with the shutter speed. And almost all of my pictures were in perfect focus. Next to that, the new and improved auto white balance has an AI technology to scan its surroundings. I hate to say it, but I do spot a noticeable difference in the pictures. When compared this to my XT3, the 40 megapixels do make a difference. I was a bit doubting to upgrade my XT3, which is still fully functional, but I'm gonna have to bite my tongue on this one. I'm just gonna wait until it breaks and then maybe upgrade. This camera comes in at $1,700, which is more than a fair price for everything that you get. Also, it is available compared to the XT4 or the X100V, which are out of stock everywhere. I'm a bit sad that I have to return this camera tomorrow, but luckily I still have my trusty XT3, which I will keep until it eventually will die on me. Because I don't think you should upgrade a camera for the sake of upgrading, because there's something newer and better out there. If your camera still works great, then just work with that one. So if you're an owner of an older broken Fujifilm camera, or you don't even have any camera at all, then I would say go for the XT-5. It works really good, it has super good autofocus. The film simulations of Fujifilm are outstanding. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments down below and I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my abilities. And thank you for stopping by, my friend. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.